There's two of them? Okay, yeah, I'll come in. Go. Now.
In my research on video games and young teenagers, one of the most common concerns I heard from parents was that video games might interfere with a child's social skills and even prevent them from making friends by keeping them isolated. As one mother put it, 5 or 6 years from now, will my son be able to socialize in a group of people who don't necessarily play these games? But when we talked to and surveyed the teenage game players, they said something quite different. Child psychiatrists Dr. Attila Geronilou and Dr. Richard Falzone have also noticed this difference between parent and teen perceptions.
I often hear that parents are concerned about their children's video game play and whether it is going to interfere with their social interactions. In reality, the kids are using these video games as social tools with which they build relationships.
Look at that. If you kill me with one shot.
For most kids, video games are not isolating. In fact, the opposite would be true. Video games provide something that kids have in common, that they can share, that they can do together in groups, and certainly something that they talk about. As a matter of fact, for kids that have some social deficits, that have a hard time meeting other kids, having something in common with them can be a bridge, a way to bring them together, and a way to bring somebody, say a very shy child, out of his shell.
When we conducted research into why young teens play video games, playing with friends and other social factors were among the top reasons they gave. To compete and win was an especially strong motivator for boys, who often compete in all kinds of formal and informal games as they jockey for status. But many girls also enjoyed competition.
Games can provide a great source of self-esteem. So a child who hasn't really developed physically yet, for example, they might not be very coordinated with throwing a baseball or running fast. In video games, they can be quite competitive.
How do you make the other groups move?
Along with friendly competition, boys and girls gain satisfaction from teaching others how to play. In our research, teenagers described sharing advice and tips. They direct each other to websites for the latest cheat codes that help them master the games. Several surveys of teens and adults who play games on the internet have found that helping other players and being part of a group effort are a big part of the appeal. Although playing video games is largely a social thing, almost all children play alone at times, whether for fun, to relieve stress, or because there's nothing else to do. But playing video games alone almost all the time is not typical. Often it's a sign that your child is feeling emotionally overwhelmed or depressed and could perhaps use some professional help handling the underlying problem. I'm Dr. Cheryl Olson.